Hello beautiful people. So here I am in my makeshift recording studio. I have potentially got my puppy is barking off in the background because somebody walked past the front. Oh dear. Anyway, Solidworks Basics Tutorial 101. Hopefully you've gone through the subscription process and you've been successful in installing it. If you haven't, please drop me a line. My email address, I'll put that down in the link so you can get to me straight away. And yeah, or get onto Facebook Messenger, whatever I can do. I don't get to see what you guys get to see in regards to installing and running it. It is an all online software. There will be some install, but mainly it's online, so you don't need a fantastic laptop or PC these days, which is awesome. Anyway, enough. Solidworks, if you've got that far and you've been able to open up your Solidworks software, here's one of your home main screens. Now, I'm just going to move myself out of the way. You should see this screen. If you don't, you may see this screen. So, all I basically did there was up the top here, we can see that we've got like a little home button and we've got new. So we're going to select new. Now, the thing about this here is, as you can see right in front of you, there is three options for part, assembly and drawing. And we're going to keep it as this basic version. Don't go to advanced, don't get too carried away and confused with it. If you can think about anything that is made from multiple parts, and I always use the analogy of a car. All right, when we look at a car, they're made up of doors, windows, panels, roof, bonnets, boots, etc., etc. All of those things are individual parts that are designed. Once those parts are designed and created in the factory, they then go on an assembly line or a production line and they get assembled and put together. That's where this little guy comes into it. Okay, as you can see, we're adding that little blue box there. Secondly, we can't actually do a drawing with dimensions and things that we need to take into a workshop to be able to make unless we know what it is that we're going to draw a drawing of. Hence, we need to create a part first. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to simply go in and have a look at the interface here of Solidworks. So we're going to select part and click OK. Oh, the noisy poodle's just returned. I hope he keeps himself under control, or we might have to pause. As I said, CAD tutorials with a difference. Please don't get in the way, Harry. Stay. Okay, part, click OK. Sorry about that. Right, here's our interface here, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you should have something very, very similar. I may have a few more tabs up here, but don't you worry about that, okay? Because we're only going to be focusing on a couple of these tabs. Initially, we're going to just block out this screen and we're going to focus on these first two tabs here, Features and Sketch. Okay, so these are our two key items we're going to be working with initially. The other things that we need to look at is we've got up here our managers. Okay, we've got our feature manager tree, we've got our property manager tree, our configuration manager tree, we've got our expert tree and our display manager tree. Again, we're not going to know or worry too much about these three here. We may look at the property manager tree. We will, actually. I just said may, but we will. So we're not going to worry about these three right now. What we need to do, though, is think about this software is amazing, but it's only as amazing as we are. Now, we're going to draw a two-dimensional object onto this screen, and then we want to convert that into a three-dimensional object. Just like anything we need when we're going to draw something is we need an item to draw on, whether it be a piece of paper, a piece of cardboard, a canvas that we're going to paint on, a wall, whatever it is we're going to draw on, we need an object we're going to draw on. And that's where these three items here on the left-hand side in the Feature Manager tree come into action. We've got a front plane, a top plane, and a right plane. And they are all to do with perspection. Perspection? You'll come up with some really weird words too. Perspective. Orthographic perspective. So let's just say, for example, I have this book here right in front of me. And I want to draw this book looking at it from the front. Okay? I would primarily select the front plane, and then I would draw this rectangle. This is a really cool book too, by the way. That's what I'd see from the front. Now, if I was to say I want to draw this book from the right perspective, I would flip this book to the right-hand side. I would choose the right plane, whoops, over here, and I would draw just this really narrow rectangle. And then I'd extrude it all the way back to cover the book. And hopefully you can guess it, the top plane here. If I wanted to draw the book looking at it from the top, this is what I'd see. And then I'd extrude it and work from there. So that's, in really simple nutshell, okay, as I said, we're starting really from the basics. That's what our three planes primarily do. When I go into all of this, I really just talk to people and suggest that you work directly with the front plane. So what we're going to do is I want you, our mouse, as we go through this, our mouse has multiple features as well. We've got our left button, our right mouse button, and our scroll wheel. And the scroll wheel doubles as a button as well. So we'll cover that. Anyway, primarily we're going to just, when I say left click, we're just going to single left click. So we want to highlight the front plane. So we're going to single left click on that, and you can see that it highlights there. It's now selected. We've got a beautiful blue rectangle there with the little dots everywhere. And that's telling the computer that's what we're drawing on. So let's come up here. Now we can't create a three-dimensional feature here yet. And if you hover over them, you get like this little animation that shows you what's going to happen. We can't create a three-dimensional feature yet until we create a sketch. So now because I've already selected the front plane, when I've clicked the sketch button there, I've automatically gone into active sketch mode. And I know that because I've got a few signs up on this screen here. I've got the red arrows here in the middle and this orange dot right in the middle. I put a new cursor on my computer and it's not highlighting. But there is an orange dot right in the middle, and that is the origin. That is like 0 on the x-axis, 0 on the y-axis, and 0 on the z-axis. We also have over here a kind of a refresh and exit sketch button. And we have a, I didn't like that, let's just exit out and it'll just go away button. And we also have our refresh and exit sketch button over here. So, and last but not least, on our feature manager tree, we've got a little roll bar here and our sketch is active underneath that roll bar. Okay, enough of that. Let's start when we have a look at our drawing tools. Up here, we've got a whole heap of stuff along this sketch ribbon, but we're not going to worry about this stuff on the right-hand side to start with. We're just going to sit here and simply look at, let's start with the basic rectangle tool. Now, watch what happens to the feature tree here on the left side when I select the rectangle tool. It becomes the property manager. Okay, now what that does is it gives us 5 different types of rectangles we can draw. We can draw a 2-point rectangle, which means we click once, click twice. We can draw a center point rectangle, which means we click once in the middle of the rectangle, draw it out, click twice. And then as you can see, there's a 3-point rectangle, a center point 3-point rectangle, and a parallelogram. Let's, for the ease of this exercise, start with a simple, let's go to, we'll keep the first one here, the corner rectangle. So I've got that selected. Here I might have to redo this with this proper mouse. You can see now my cursor has turned into a massive pencil. And underneath that pencil is a corner rectangle symbol. So it kind of tells us that's what we're going to be drawing with. Now, hopefully you'll see I've got these reference lines here. They're just reference lines to tell me that I'm directly in line and I'm not clicking anything. They're directly in line with the origin. If I bring my pencil tip right to the origin, whoops, you see, there is a little orange dot. So we want to start at the origin. We're going to single left click on that orange dot, and once we've released our single left click, we're going to move our mouse cursor up and away. And look, we'll add some dimensions in a minute, but we're going to single left click. Just don't worry about it too much, but single left click right there. Okay, beautiful. Yes, well done. You guys have drawn a square of sorts. Perfect. What we want to do here now is, you'll notice what I'm going to do is I'm just going to green tick out of the rectangle tool. Now you can do it a couple of ways. If I green tick, green tick, it goes. Say for example I've still got it active, I can press the escape button on my keyboard and it goes. And say for example I've got it still active on my computer, I can right click in the graphics screen. This is what's called the graphics screen, and I can click the select button. So there's 3 ways you can actually deselect the rectangle tool after you've chosen it. Now what you'll notice is there's a few different coloured lines here on this screen. And how am I doing this, you ask? This is with the scroll wheel. It scrolls in and out and in and out, and depends on the area that you focus on, that is the area that it's going to scroll into. So if I just leave my mouse over this corner, it's going to disappear. I'll bring it back. It hasn't come back to where I want it. So if I keep moving my mouse over this corner, I'm going to keep zooming in on that particular area. Now some people get a little bit carried away and then they go, oh my gosh, where did this go? Up here you've got a little zoom. This is our heads up display, and we've got a little zoom to fit here. Or, as you can see, shortcut F on your keyboard. Alright, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now the next thing that we need to be aware of, and I can't believe we've already gone in 12 minutes with this one, is square here is currently not complete. Alright, it is called, there's a big car and caravan outside. No, it's not called that. It is underdefined, which means the computer is saying, well, yeah, okay, great, you've got a square on the screen, but hey, you're not really defining any information here for me to work with. And it also means you can basically, whoopsie, click and drag and change this any way you want, which means it's not going to be a very good, stable design or shape in whatever it is you're going to make. So what we want to do, you'll notice if I click on it, it makes everything blue, beautiful. There's these little green buttons around, little dots here, and you'll notice in these little green dots, you know, the ones that are pointing up and down, that's saying that these lines are vertical, all right? They won't actually change and go on an angle. These little ones up here, they're horizontal. They won't change, they won't go on an angle. So that kind of keeps a relationship on those lines. We've got 2 lines here that are black. Now they are defined because they are actually locked on to our origin. If I click again, doesn't matter how much I zoom in, the box size doesn't change, but you'll see that there's a box here and it's a coincident box. So it's got a line and almost like a perpendicular line with a circle in it. It means it's locked on, it's coincident to the origin. So those 2 lines are primarily, they can't move. If I try to move them, they don't move. It's only the other 2 lines that are blue that move. Let's add a dimension to this. All right, so up here up the top we've got a smart dimension tool. So we're going to single left click on that to select it. Now it doesn't really matter at this point in time whether you use the left vertical line or the right vertical line, but what we're going to do is either one. When you hover over it, you'll see that it turns orange. If you single left click on that, you'll get a number propagate. Now if you drag that number out a little bit and left click again, you'll get a dimension box. Depending on where you are in this world, it could depend on what your measurements are, whether they're imperial or metric. Here in Australia, we're working with metric, so I've got millimeters. Obviously in America it's imperial, so you're working in inches and stuff. My system is defaulted to millimeters. Don't panic for now if you've installed and you are in a country that uses millimeters, but your system is saying inches. I can show you later how to adjust that. If it is in inches, all you simply have to do is if we type in 50 and then mm, and we can press either the green tick up here, or because I'm already on the keyboard, I press enter on my keyboard. Okay, and now if your computer's in inches and you've just typed in mm, it will actually convert whatever that 50 millimeters is, and it'll give you an inch measurement. So, but don't worry about it because we know we put in 50. Now you'll notice what's happened is this top line's turned black. That means it doesn't matter what we do now. If I press escape from my keyboard and get rid of the smart dimension function, it doesn't matter what I do now. I can't grab hold of that line and I can't drag it, okay, because it's fully defined at a 50 millimeter space. But this line here, well, it's still blue. I can still drag it wherever I want. Okay, so again down the bottom here, under defined. So let's just grab our smart dimension tool again, and this time we want to actually set the distance between here. Okay, so we can do it one of two ways. The simplest way is, I'm going to just quickly alert you, don't click on that dot in the middle. It won't blow everything up. It just gets awkward and painful. So bring your mouse over. Now, if you do happen to click on that dot in the middle, it kind of is going to give you a half measurement. Okay, so I'm just going to press escape out of there, and I've still got this point is selected here, so I'm just going to press escape again just to get rid of that point. Now, I'm going to click on this line, not in the middle, but somewhere either side, click and bring that dimension down, type in 50 and press enter. Ba-boom, ba-boom. Green tick or escape on your keyboard to get rid of the dimension function, and now you'll notice all the lines have turned black, and down the bottom here it says fully defined. Cool! Now you will come across some potential errors. If I tried to smart dimension this line, it would tell me, well, hang on a minute, why are you trying to dimension that line? Like, you've already set it at 50 millimeters, you don't need to do it. So I'll cancel that. All right, computer, I hear you. What we want to do now is we're going to, because I don't want to drag these videos out for too long, but I do want to really, really make sure that the basics are covered, because so many tutorials out there on YouTube are very quick, very hard to understand. And I know that I talk a lot, but I try to give very clear instructions. I mean, I'm so used to working with, kids that range from 12 years of age up until 16, 17, 18 years of age. You've got to give clear instructions. So anyway, here it is. Now here's a little magical tool with our scroll wheel. We did our scrolling in and out, in and out, in and out. If you treat your scroll wheel like a button, in other words, if you use, whatever finger is comfortable to press and hold, if you actually press that scroll wheel down like it's a button and hold it down, and then move your mouse, this is called orbiting. All right, so that's pretty cool. That comes in really, really handy in time to come. But anyway, enough about that. We now want to make this three-dimensional. All right, this is what really trips people who've never done CAD before. This really trips them out. It's so cool to see their expressions. But over here, now again, I told you we only ever want to worry about the sketch tab and the features tab. We've done our sketch. We've got our two-dimensional sketch. Let's select our features tab. And you'll notice that along the way here, most of these things are blanked out. You can't actually use them because they don't suit this current two-dimensional drawing. But what we do have are a couple of other options that are available to us. Now, we're going to cover these off in another tutorial. But right now, I want you to do an extruded boss base. And if you hold your mouse over it and you have a look at the little graphic that's going on there, it actually shows you what it does. So it's actually going to create a solid three-dimensional feature out of what we've just drawn. So I'm going to left-click to select it. And you'll notice we've got a yellow preview. Okay, so again, pressing and holding my scroll wheel down and orbiting this around. We've got two ways that we can set the dimension to this. One way is over on the left-hand side. If I already know how far and how large I want to make this, I can actually type in, and I want to make it a cube, so I'm going to type in 50 and press enter. Okay, so that I can make this a cube. Let's just say I don't want to type this in, I actually just want to keep using my mouse. You'll notice that arrow in the middle is grey. If I hover over it, it turns orange. And now I can click and drag it along, and you've got this little ruler that's appeared on the screen. You can drag it along to wherever you want on that ruler. Boom. So there we have our cube. Now once we're happy with what we've done, we green tick, and I forgot to show you, in fact I'll show you now. I'm going to have to change out this mouse. It's not user friendly. Basically what you can do, here we go, edit feature. Come on computer, work with me please. Edit feature. I green ticked up here. You can green tick over this side as well. Similarly, if you decide, oh hang on a minute, no, I wanted to change that square that I drew, I'm not ready to extrude yet, you can red X. Alright, and that won't extrude. So there you have a cube. Over here on our feature tree, we have a boss extrude sitting above this roll bar, and just to the left of it is a little arrow, and if you click on that little arrow, come on mouse, come on, work with me, I'm changing this mouse out, I'm sorry for all future tutorials to come, they will not have this little red mouse. Come on, work with me. Alright, it's not going to work with me, but I would like you to click on that little arrow. You will see that when I do that, when you do that, underneath will be a little sketch, and that is actually the original sketch that created the cube. I'm sorry, it shouldn't have taken so long. I'm changing this mouse, that mouse, this mouse, this squeaky mouse. Anyway. We're going to do more with this cube, but I want to do that in another tutorial. Thanks for your time. Let's give it a crack. Oh, don't forget, up the top here, File. Save to this PC at this point in time. You can save, you are in an online domain with your software, but at this point in time, just go save to your PC, save to this PC here. And then locate where you want to save it, give it a name. Everything is going really slow because I'm doing some other stuff in the background. I'm just going to go desktop, and I'm going to go SW Tutorials, if I can spell like that. And I'm going to go into there, and I'm going to call it Cube 1. Alright, and Solidworks part, beautiful, click save, and we're done. I hope you stick around for the next one. They will get quicker and they will get better. I'm changing this mouse. See you guys.